Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, December 20th edition of StudentLoanJustice.org, 2023. My name is Alan Collins. I'm going to keep tonight's live stream quite brief, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of announcements. First announcements, please donate, if you would, please. I know I've been leading the live stream with this almost every time for the past couple of weeks. There's a very good reason for it. We're working on a special project that I'll be rolling out January 1st. And so this week, the last I checked, we needed, I think, 27 people to donate $20 or more. So if you appreciate this group, all that we've done, all that we're doing, just please donate so I can shut up about it. Second announcement, I'm very proud to announce that our petition, change.org/cancel student loans, was among the top 5 petitions in the United States for the year 2023. And maybe I'll just share my screen with you really quickly, just so you can see it for yourself. These are the top 5 petitions in the US 2023. You can see there was looked like a pipeline project, ceasefire for Gaza, something about Minecraft, and something about saving the whales. And we were right up there. So that's good. I'm very glad to see that. We're actually much larger than I think most, if not all of those petitions. Our petition is older, though. I have to disclaim that, our petition's been around since 2020. So that's good news. Another pretty quick announcement. One of our friends, a federal investigator, retired federal investigator, very prominent guy, Tom Borgers. You can Google him if you want, Borgers. He's doing a project, and he's looking for people who have either worked at a college financial aid office, or maybe they still do, and also people who have worked at Accenture, the company called Accenture, or maybe they still do. So if you or someone you know fits that bill, send me an email, Alan at studentloanjustice.org, and you can see, and I'll tell you more about it. So good for us. By the way, sign and share that petition if you haven't at change.org/cancel student loans. That would be a very good thing. There's no good reason we can't get that petition up to 15 or 20 million signatures, guys. There absolutely is not. So tonight, I want to take you quickly through some propaganda that's being inserted into the zeitgeist. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the group, you should know we're fighting for 2 things: the cancellation of all federally owned student loans and the return of bankruptcy protections to all student loans. So, and by the way, the bankruptcy thing, while nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, it lies at the core of everything. I talked about this in depth last week with, 2 weeks ago now, with Marianne Williamson, presidential candidate. Look for it on our website, studentloanjustice.org, or on our group. You can find it, or just Google it. Really important discussion that we had with Marianne. So my 2 little friends here, the little nutcracker friends. So, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Times reported a couple days ago that 60% of student loan borrowers are actually paying on their student loans. And the way the article was sort of wrapped in concern, like, oh, look, only 60% of borrowers are paying on their student loans. That's not good. Ladies and gentlemen, that's propaganda. It's way worse than that. Way worse than that. The New York Times is seeding propaganda in the media. We've seen it a million times, guys. It might not seem like that would be propaganda. You'd be like, well, that's good, right? They're sort of telling the truth. No, they're not telling the truth. If you read the article, you see that what they actually said were that 60% of the 22 million people who got bills paid on their student loans. Ladies and gentlemen, there's 43.4 million federal student loan borrowers in the country. So that's 60%. That's actually 30%. But wait, there's more, because something like 6 or 7 million people, technically they're in repayment technically they're making payments, but they are making $0 payments because they're in one or the other of the income-driven repayment plans. So that 30% all of a sudden becomes like 16%. So instead of 13 million people paying, it's actually closer to around 7 million people who are paying. So only 7 million out of 43 million people are paying on their loans. That's like 16%. Now, some of those people, around 8.8 million of those people, are either in college or they are in their grace period. So if you take those out of the data, then we go back up to 20%. So, ladies and gentlemen, of all the people who should be paying on their student loans, which is around 35 or so million people, only 20% of them are paying. That's 1 in 5. So don't believe the nonsense from the New York Times. It's not 60% are not paying. Sorry. Yeah, 60%. It's false to say that. That always trips me up. 60%. It is false to say that 60% of all borrowers are paying. 16% of all borrowers are actually paying. And if you don't include the people in school, it's 20% are paying. So 80% of all borrowers who should be paying are not paying. I hope that was clear. Let me just say the actual truth one more time. 80% of all student loan borrowers who should be paying are not paying. Isn't that crazy? 80%, ladies and gentlemen. It's not 40% not paying like the New York Times says. That's just the people who got bills. So anyways, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm getting a little confused myself repeating it so many times. So yeah, guys, the lending system is in free fall. It's in catastrophic failure. And I don't think those repayers are going to stay the same, by the way. I think a couple of months from now, it's going to be even fewer than 20% of all student loan borrowers who should be paying actually are paying. So ladies and gentlemen, people come onto our group all the time looking for advice. I don't have any good advice to give you. If I did, I would take it myself. I would not be here. None of the income-driven repayment plans are trustworthy at all. Not at all. Many years of very careful observation and research have showed us demonstrated clearly, that the Department of Education has no desire or intentions of actually canceling any student loans. You know, the $131 billion that we keep hearing about the Biden administration canceling, that's nothing, ladies and gentlemen. In 3 years since Biden has been president, $131 billion, that's not even a fraction of the interest that accumulates against us in 3 typical years. In 3 typical years, well over 200 in 3 typical years, well over $300 billion in interest is added to our debts. So 131 billion isn't looking like quite that much anymore. And if you include the fact that around $100 billion in new loans are made every year, Joe Biden or the next president can keep doing what they've been doing with loan cancellation forever. Every 3 years, they can cancel $131 billion. And the federal student loan portfolio will still grow by over 1.6, closer to $1.7 trillion over 10 years. So we don't have to put up with nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're freaking out about your student loans, you really shouldn't, because 4 out of 5 of all borrowers are freaking out just like you are if you are not paying. If you are paying, well, in my humble opinion, you're kind of a sucker at this point. Like, why would you feed the beast? But I understand people have their own calculus they have to do, and some people have jobs that require them not to be in default and stuff like that. So I get it. But what I will tell you is that if you ever pay another dollar back on your federal student loans, you're in the very small minority, like the 16% of all borrowers. And that doesn't make you a special and good, by the way. It only hurts the rest of us when you feed your money into this beast. Well, that's just true. So, anyways, do what you want. I'm just telling you the truth. So I think I'm going to leave the live stream kind of there now, ladies and gentlemen. I would just reiterate. Please donate if you can. Listen to the little drummer boy or whatever. Please donate if you can. Sign our petition at change.org/cancel student loans. If you happen to know anyone who works or worked at a financial aid office or for the company called Accenture, send me an email, alan@studentloanjustice.org, and we'll point them in the right direction for this investigation that's going on. And finally, I would just say, buck up, guys. You don't have to be fighting this on your own. And it really kills me to see so many people flailing around rather than helping us fight. You know, the first thing that you need to do, if you're watching me, first thing that any student loan borrower really should be doing are our daily actions. You can see the link there, bit.ly. You can see the link there as well, studentloanjustice.org. We do daily actions every day. They're quick. They take less than a minute to do usually. Got to have a Twitter account. But there's true strength in numbers, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I got a call into C-SPAN today saying basically what I just said. Try and get a call into C-SPAN as well. That's just kind of off the top of my head, something very helpful that you could be doing every month. Getting onto C-SPAN and calling for the return of bankruptcy to student loans and the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order. So, okay, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Please keep fighting. Please remember all that stuff I just said and do it. Tell everyone you know about this group. We're the only group in the country that is actually, not pretend, actually fighting this battle as it needs to be fought. So you have no idea how important you could be. Jump in. The water's fine. We got a tiger by the tail here, guys, and we need your help more than ever. Hang in there. Good luck. Godspeed. God bless everyone.